What a brilliant album.
Thank you.
What a brilliant album. I mean, I listened to it, and for those people, of course, who are Bon Jovi fans from back in the day, they're going to love it. But for Touches, like, I had bits of the Killers in there. I heard a rave, like a Calvin Harris type arrangement on a song that had a real dance kind of sound to it. Born Again Tomorrow, with a drop. It was brilliant. So for you, yourself, approaching this project, where were you drawing on? Where were your emotions taking you?
Well, there was a lot of living that went into this record. It's been 3 years since we got off the road, over 3 years now. So it's 3+ years since the release of the last album. A lot of information and a lot of turmoil happened in those 3 years, a lot of living. So, you know, I can joke now and say, well, out of great pain comes great songs. But while you're living it, you're thinking, oh man, this is a long day. And you know, every day you're having to write another chapter in that book. But it's okay, because in retrospect, I don't know what I would have written had I not had all this life to have lived. You know, I wasn't ever a fan of writing Moon, June, and Spoon as rhyme schemes, you know. So you have to have something to say, and in all the life that I've had to live, there's a lot to say.
I was listening to Scars on his guitar, and that seemed to be channeling this is the last place I go to. This is my ultimate refuge.
Yeah,
is music still?
Yeah, you know, I tell a kid that you know, they say, I want to grow up and be a rock and roll star. I go, don't think about being a rock and roll star. Play the instrument, because it's going to be your best friend. So when your parents are yelling at you to take piano lessons, it's not because they want you to go dee 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 dee. They really want you to know that that instrument could give you solace in your times of need, or times of joy, or just be with you when no one else is around. Now, for me, it also helps me channel my thoughts, and that's always been my friend. Yeah.
Always?
Oh yeah.
Have you ever had a bad relationship?
I was very young. I was fortunate enough to have had the dream of every 13-year-old to want to grow up and play in a band. But then again, the drinking age in New Jersey was 18, so you could sneak into a bar at 16, and you thought that was success. Then you played at a block dance, and you know, things worked their way up. So the illusion of success was there when you were very young, and there was nothing else that you had to fear, because I was fortunate enough to live home and have 2 parents and stuff. That made it easier for me. By the time I was 20, I had a record deal. You know, I'm 54 years old now, so it's been the same record deal, and it's that's been my solace.
Because your parents were very supportive of you, weren't they?
Sure.
Allowing you to really do what you wanted to do.
I was born in the Kennedy era, when the idea of, you want to go to the moon? We're going to the moon, you know. And so my mother and father went, if you want to go to the moon, it's that way, you know. And whatever the dream was, they supported it. Again, to reiterate, I was so young. It wasn't as though I was 30 and still living at home and them going,
well, that's what Asians do. That we do that. Yeah, we still do that. That's
no, there's not in our house. But you know, so I was lucky enough to have their support, but I was very young.
But that drive, where did that come from? Were your parents, that you saw them get up at the crack of dawn, they'd be working hard, and is that where it came from?
Yeah, that's where all of us came from. You know, in my house, both parents worked 6 days a week. They had Sundays off, and they worked that way until I retired them. But that's all we ever knew. And so that drive was instilled in me as a kid. You can have it, you have to earn it, no matter what it was. I don't care if it was sneakers as a little kid or success in your career.
And this stage that you're at now, and listening to this album and how fresh it sounds, and how full of emotion it sounds. Every note has some emotion. This is not someone who's been in this 3 decades and is going through the motions.
No.
You dug deep in this. All of you guys did.
Yeah, we had to. First, I'd always said that the minute it is not producing on a level in which I'd grown accustomed, I'm out. You're never going to interview me on the Where Are They Now tour. That day's not coming.
Right, okay.
You know, and you're never going to interview me after I got out of rehab, and you're never going to, you know, in the 7th marriage. Those days are never coming for me. I said it when I was 25. I'll tell you when I'm 54. It's just, that ain't happening. I'm out, you know, and if I didn't have something to say, and guys that were committed to the same vision, I've done it. You know, I can still write the songs and keep them in the notebook. I don't need to do it on this stage.
Are you ever in check of your own confidence, in the sense that they say confidence without a sense of humour is arrogance, and arrogance will not lead to a great product?
No. So
are you in check?
No, there's
of that?
incredible humility, but there was a lot of self-doubt in the last couple of years. Not in the writing. I never considered that I couldn't write. The self-doubt, it manifested itself in other ways in my physical being, to be honest with you. You know, to get back to singing the way I am able. You know, it manifested itself physically. All the stresses. So I'm working through it. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm almost confident that it'll come back. The writing has never lacked. I don't ever have a problem. There was a record that I put out last summer that we just, you know, didn't promote or didn't put. It's called Burning Bridges, when I was stamping my feet and pouting at my record company, which was had some really good songs.
You had a moment.
And I turned it in a brown paper bag, but the emotion was there, and the songs told the story. On a parallel course, we were writing and recording this record, but you know, for that 6 months that I left the company, the writing is never an issue. It was the idea that the rest of it was called into question. Yeah, there was a lot of self-doubt.
But in that period of self-doubt, even your guitar, you even couldn't find solace in your guitar.
Lost the calluses on my fingers. Couldn't even, you know, I played like a 13-year-old. Ow, that hurt. You know? Absolutely. In 2014, I didn't touch it. I walked by it and gave it the finger. And in January of 15, like a lover you've been mad at, I looked at it and nodded, and it didn't, you know, give me the cold shoulder. And then I blew it a kiss, and it said, "No, I'm not talking to you." And eventually, we sat down and had a conversation, and out of it started, you know, to come these thoughts. But for over a year, it sat there, and I in 2014, I didn't care if I made another record.
What's it like to feel as though that self-doubt is beginning to ebb away? How does that feel, to know that you're managing to...
I'll let you know when I get to the confident level of going out and hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, and, you know, walking out on the stage. But I'm almost just at a place now where I can say, okay, I remember, it's coming back, it's okay, you know, this will be okay. I've had a lot of people tell me it's going to be okay for 3 years now. But I've had these songs until the last song on the record coming up to our house, and I'll get to that. They've been sitting in a notebook, you know, being tweaked in the recording studio. This House Is Not For Sale has been done for a year plus. I just didn't know what anyone's reaction to it was going to be, but I knew the songs were there. Anyhow, you know, so in all of this turmoil, you have to sit with yourself.
Has fear ever been a driving force for you, giving you that sense of adrenaline, considering, of course, you were born into an era where we can go to the moon? Fear of not being famous, fear of not being able to sing.
Never
fear
a motivator.
Okay.
Fame has never meant anything to me.
Well,
and I say that because there are a lot of musicians I know who are applause junkies. They really enjoy hearing their name and going out on the stage. I never cared for that. That's third on my list. Writing was always first. Recording it was second, because then you could see if the dream was real. And then going out and sharing it with the people, and the feedback of it is wonderful. But it's third, and it's last on my list. I live a very normal life, always have. You know, people are amused by it, but in truth, that's why I said I don't play the Hollywood game.
Do you cut your own grass?
No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the real key to how normal your life is.
It would take a month to cut.
Yeah, right. I can imagine it would.
I'm not very capable. I'm not very handy. They keep sharp things away from me.
So fear. I mean, once you've sold over
I don't think
100
it's
million
fear.
albums.
Fear's maybe not the right word. There's a bit of that 25-year-old's chip on his shoulder. There was more fear after Slippery When Wet. Can we do this again?
Right.
And it almost led to the demise of the band the first time, because we worked so hard to write New Jersey. Fear's really not a motivator. Many people are forced to live in fear in their real daily lives. They have to go to their job because they have to pay the bills, and they don't have enough money to live. You know, there's that. It's unfortunate, but that's a cold, hard truth. This is the opportunity to share art, and so fears really could never be a motivating factor. It really isn't. You'd never write anything true if fear was where I lived. It's not fear. Desire to do a good job, yeah. A lot of, like I said, manifestations physically, yeah, but none motivated by fear.
But self-doubt, interesting that this body of work and the passion and the energy in it and the self-doubt that helped create, or some of it, helped create
Sure.
some of it.
Yeah.
Does that mean then that, you know, post This House Is Not For Sale, you'll think, well, how will I rediscover that energy? Where will that energy come from to take me on? Because this is a renaissance. This is an amazing record.
Thank you. It's very kind, and I appreciate those words because we've worked so hard on it. We haven't sung the songs live yet. We start those rehearsals on Sunday. But we were shooting videos. We shot 3 videos over the weekend. And even singing the lyrics in the videos, I got a little welled up because I know what every line means. So I think it might be interesting to see what happens to me when I play them with the band, and then what happens to me when I play them in front of an audience. Because, you know, each word, this isn't, you give love a bad name. Wonderful when I was 25.
I've heard you sing it better than that before, I have to say.
Not much these days, but in the big picture, you know, I couldn't rewrite that song. It's just not where we are. Couldn't do it. Wouldn't want to do it. Could do it, but don't want to do it. That'd be crafting.
You must be able to look at This House Is Not For Sale and say, if this was the last album we made.
That'd be okay with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no greater testament than that. There's no greater kind of sense that, yes, we
Left it on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richie Sambora,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where are we at? Christmas cards?
No. No ill will.
Okay.
This is the craziest thing. I swear to you, on my career, there was no fight. I swear to you, on my children, there was nothing, issues of money. There was none of the nonsense that you've read in the blogosphere and the media. We were in Calgary. It was show number 21 on the tour. I was in my room, and he was going to come up on the day, and he never showed up for work. None of us have ever seen him since. I talked to him one time on the telephone, and we've had to get the guy that the last time he was in rehab filled in for him. So fortunately for me, when I called the guy, Phil X, I said, Phil, you still have that notebook with the chord changes. Can you come tomorrow? I'll play tonight, but I need a guy up on the stage. And he said, sure. And he filled in, and he's done 100 shows since. You know, it was traumatic in that I lost a friend and a dear friend and a collaborator and a big integral part of the band. But being in a rock band is not a life sentence. You know, and that's what I tried to tell the fan base. Nothing happened here other than, you know, he had issues and chose not to come and share his art with us anymore.
How good are you at that kind of emotional compartmentalization? So you go, okay, that's done. There's nothing I can do about it. I need to move on.
Well,
is
it was more than that. It's a
burns?
relationship. These are your family members. You know, these are the guys that believed in what I had as a vision 30 plus years ago, and trusted me. And then we trusted each other. So there's no ill will. You know, to reiterate that concept of, it's not a life sentence.
But loyalty, how important is that to you?
Immensely. His leaving, it wasn't a question of loyalty.
Right. It's not a life sentence, as you said. Yeah.
No, because it wasn't a question of his loyalty. He had other things to deal with.
Yeah.
But that's his journey. So disappointment in Tico and David and I, yeah. Disappointment in the 120 people that I employ, yeah. They were thinking about their livelihoods, and a record that was entering the charts at #1, and a tour that was the biggest grossing tour in the world, and it's a lot of responsibilities. So it wasn't easy, but there's no woe is me. You know, there's people that are really watching this now that work for a living, you know, and are out in the, you know, it's protecting their nations. You know, it's not easy. This is baby stuff.
I interviewed Chris Pine, the actor, a little while ago, and he had a beard, and he had a lot of grey in his beard, and I was like, wow, because I get this impression in the UK that, you know, if you're in America and you're in showbiz, you know, you can't, you know, there's almost this kind of poison of age, growing old. Oh my God, how can you do it? I love your grey. Like, how good is the grey? Like, I would look like a brown Gandalf if I grew my beard, right? So I love grey too. Was this something very easy to you to embrace that? It was like, look, I'm getting old. Like,
I'm fine with it.
Never thought of fillers or anything?
Oh, that's that bow tie. No. No, but I've said, at least I've stuck to the same party line. Look, I don't care. At the end of the day, you could like my music or don't like my music. There's nothing I can say or do about it, because I said when I was 25, and I'll say it again when I'm 54, I was never going to paint my fingernails to black. It just wasn't who I am. So I don't want to pretend to have my hair, you know, horse-colored brown.
Which never looks fake.
Old. Yeah, of course, you know. Sorry, folks. It's just, this is it.
So you never felt the kind of the marketing pressure of being a rock star. It was for you. It was like, look, it's the songs. Yeah, okay. I've been blessed. I mean, I've been blessed with a beautiful face. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you said that. No, you said that. Even my wife wouldn't say that, John. But you know, you were blessed with good genes, so it was not an issue.
You're very kind. But the you know, just the idea of pretending to be what I'm not. You know, I just got these visions. I remember when I was a little kid. I couldn't have been but 17, 18 years old, and I was playing in the bar that it was my home, called the Fast Lane, and it was an original band bar. And there was a band that was called, well, I won't even mention their name because it's not a great story. But the lead singer, who I knew from the pop rock magazines, was performing now at this club, and his 15 minutes was now over. And he's wearing a big open shirt, and it wasn't buttoned any longer, and he had an electric guitar on, and the guitar cable was stapled to the floor, because the guitar was covering the belly in the club that sat 500 people after the 15 minutes of fame was over. But the guy from the magazines that I envisioned was, and I went, whoa. So I was never going to be that. I'm out before those days come. You are never going to see me sitting around my peers from the 80s going, here we are in the Where Are They Now tour. No.
So if you'd lost your hair, would you have had it stitched in?
No, I'd be, you know, Bruce Willis or Sting, or, you know, I'd just be cool with it.
What are the aspirations for John Bon Jovi? Mentioning you in the third person. What are the aspirations? I mean, this clearly is an aspiration that you have achieved.
Yeah. This is the third time in my career that I've been able to do that again. I did it with. Well, with Slippery, obviously. We did it again with, after Blaze of Glory, when we came back with Keep the Faith, we did it again with Crush. When people thought, okay, enough of them already, and we came back with It's My Life and with Crush. So we've done it 3 times, and so I do hope that this will be that kind of record. This is the first time, in the last week, this is the first time I'm getting a reaction to the record, because like I said, I've had it, but no one else has. So I hope that this record will be one of those chapters. If at the end of it we have a pleasurable tour and a healthy tour, that's the aspiration musically.
What's Devils in the Temple about?
I could tell you the person, but I'll generalize it. It's the record company. It's the, it was the hell that I was put through.
Look what they have done to this house of love.
Yeah, the church was the record company. Every kid's aspiration was that place where they were going to share the music, where they made the music, where the history of music was, with why the music mattered. I was bitter enough to say that's just not the same anymore. And there is that.
Was that about them, or was that more about you?
Oh, no.
definitely them.
Oh yeah, I know the guy behind the desk. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've been at that company so long that I've been through 3 buildings. They've changed the name 3 times. People say, well, how many presidents has there been? No clue. I don't know how many CEOs. Man, I could put a number on that. But when you're through 3 different buildings, you know, you're the longest tenured, biggest selling record guy on the label. But it is not what it was in 1983. No.
Is that because
the business changed?
The business changed, or John Bon Jovi sold 128 million records? I don't need some guy who was just in this building telling me I've made a bad record.
Absolutely not. No, the opposite. I embrace with 2 arms and 2 legs. Please give me input. There used to be a day when A&R guys understood their position, and that's part of what people say is wrong with the record business, that there wasn't enough good songs on a record and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's the A&R department's fault. And I'm not even going to criticize that. I'm criticizing that I can tell you the day and time when they gave the record away to get off on it. I could be very specific. When this record business that we're in blew up. And you know, it's come to roost now. And it's just not the same as it was. I hope out of the day and age in which we live, the internet, that the next Bob Dylan can be discovered, because he has the opportunity on this vast, you know, internet access, that his lyrics and songs can be heard. But there was a time 15 years ago when the Bob Dylan of the world would not have been found because he didn't fit the format of a singing show or the pop format of radio. So now the internet allows that. The concept of a kid selling 130 million albums, good luck. I venture to put a lot of money on the wager that that's not going to happen again. But I want to say one thing about the music business. Music, books, movies, and art are interdependent. They're very important so that the history of our past and future, you know, is shared in those art forms. And if you keep giving it away, compounded by the fact that you dumb it down, what's going to be left for our kids to write about? Where's the next Dylan? You know, where's the next great Godfather, or that painting, or, you know, a great book? It has to happen. It's very important. And without it, the dumbing down just leads us to a society of, you know, simple, silly people and motivated by money.
If I gave you an unfair choice that you had to make, life sucks, get a helmet, between saying, right, this album will be massive amongst fans who are already fans of Bon Jovi, but no one new will come to it, or a legion of new people will discover John Bon Jovi, but your fans won't get it, what would you rather have?
The latter.
Why? Considering there's over 100 million people.
No, because I want to grow. I want to grow. To me, it's really about continuing growth. Or I would be in the Where Are They Now category and go, guess what? The new disco version of Living on a Prayer.
Bon Jovi and NSYNC on tour, arenas this summer.
Not going to happen. So, no, I think that any artist wants to continue evolving. The artists that I, love, want to write the new stuff and have it be embraced.